This is my comparative study rough draft for IB Film, where I will be covering Spirited Away based on Matsuyama, Japan, and Zootopia based on numerous landmark cities in the United States, including New York City, Los Angeles, and others. My film focus will be on genre and cultural context, and I will be analyzing how both films use visual storytelling and symbolism to reflect numerous universal and nuanced societal issues, even though the studios came from different parts of the globe, that being the United States and Japan. The topic which I will be abiding by throughout this comparative is, how do Spirited Away and Zootopia use visual storytelling and symbolism to critique societal issues? Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away and Byron Howard and Rich Moore's Zootopia are animated films that explore themes of transformation, identity, and societal structure. Overall, these films feature young protagonists navigating unfamiliar worlds filled with complex social hierarchies. Within these films, they were chosen due to their strong visual and symbolic critiques of real-world issues they continuously illustrate. For instance, Spirited Away critiques consumerism and environmental harm, while Zootopia tackles prejudice and discrimination. Looking into their cultural nuances, while Spirited Away is rooted in Japanese cultural traditions and folklore, Zootopia draws from American social structures and modern issues. Despite the differences in their cultural nuances that heavily influence the production and manifestation of these films catering to their audience, these films both effectively use setting, character design, and metaphors to convey their messages. Real-world context. Understanding the cultural and historical context behind these films is extremely key to analyzing their messages. First, Miyazaki's Spirited Away was created during a time when Japan was experiencing rapid modernization and economic growth, and this film reflects the anxieties which come from the loss of traditional values, and symbolically emphasizes the impact of consumerism on younger generations. The bathhouse setting symbolizes capitalism, with its focus on labor hierarchy and the corruption of innocence. Scholar Bokong Sun discusses how the film incorporates Shinto beliefs and critiques modern materialism, and highlights the spiritual emptiness of a world driven by greed. Zootopia, on the other hand, was released during a period of social change in the United States, which primarily revolved around racial and gender equality. This film reflects the ongoing discussions about systemic biases and the challenges people face to overcome the harsh barriers of stereotypes and prejudice. According to Byron Howard, Zootopia uses animals as metaphors for addressing real-world discrimination, and it is essential to the creator that he can spread this theme to all ages as universal commentary. Also, for the film setting, a city where different species must coexist, vividly conveys the stark separations and disparities in groups formed in society, and speaks volumes to the idea that humanity needs to put forth the effort to have our multifaceted and multicultural society thrive. Even with unique and rich cultural backgrounds each of these films come from, including the current transformations in their society within the United States having an influx of movements and advocacy for racial and gender equality, while Japan rapidly modernizes in today's society, both films uniquely address the ongoing discussions in each of their countries. Symbolism. Each of these films relies heavily on visual storytelling and symbolism to communicate their themes. First off, in Spirited Away, the bathhouse is designed with very intricate detail and conveys a vivid image of a world where spirits work and interact, while also mirroring real-life societal structures. With the fantastic elements portrayed, paired with an emphasis on a setting teeming with Japanese culture roots in Shintoism, Edo period ryokan traditional inns, and the bathhouse operating like a traditional Japanese business with a strict hierarchy and discipline present, Miyazaki can artistically convey a symbolic landscape not too far disconnected from reality. Another piece of visual storytelling present is also the development of the main character, Chihiro's character, and her representation as a victim of systemic bias, spanning from a frightened girl to a confident individual fully being acquainted and integrated with the new life she was suddenly bestowed with, aligning with traditional gendered expectations of becoming hardworking, polite, and self-sacrificing. Zootopia also uses visual storytelling to reinforce its themes in numerous unique manners. First, the city demonstrates a sharp division between the animals living in society, and it is designed to help reflect real-world cultural and environmental differences present in society today. For example, the districts Tundra Town, Sahara Square, and the Rainforest District all represent species-based segregation and all limit cross-cultural interactions between districts, which fosters stereotypes between the districts. Moreover, the protagonist is an extremely key vessel the creators utilized to illustrate the visual storytelling and symbolism in this film, where Judy Hopps physically stands out in the police force due to her much smaller stature compared to her colleagues, symbolizing her struggle to be taken seriously. According to Animation World Network, the filmmakers designed the environment in Zootopia to visually reflect the themes of diversity and inclusion, and also ensure that every species' habitat aligned with their natural characteristics. Both of these films share visual storytelling and symbolism to portray the contrast of their characters to the societies they're trying to fit into. Whether it be physically Chihiro or Judy Hopps' small stature compared to the environment they're trying to integrate with, or how each of the films create fantastical worlds that emphasize disparities between groups in society. Character design and metaphors. Character design plays a crucial role in reinforcing these films' messages. First, in Spirited Away, the character No-Face serves as a metaphor for greed and influence. While the character was initially presented as harmless, he eventually devolves into a monstrous being consuming everything around him when exposed to the bathhouse's corrupted environment. His transformations highlight the danger of unchecked desire, which reflects Miyazaki's concern for humanity regarding materialism. Also, the bathhouse owner, Yubaba, represents corporate greed, where she prioritizes profit over the well-being of her workers. Finally, a character that is a metaphor of systemic bias is the character of Haku, who is the male deuteragonist, who emulates a common trope in films and historical idea where female protagonists or women in positions of power still have to rely on male figures for knowledge and assistance. In Zootopia, the division between predator and prey species acts as a metaphor for racial and social biases. One of the main characters, Nick Wilde, is a fox that is stereotyped as untrustworthy, which reflects real-world prejudices. The other main character, Judy Hopps, while determined to not be affected by her biases, also carries subconscious bias, which she confronts and tries to develop from throughout the film. These characters and their metaphorical importance show how discrimination exists even among the most well-intentioned individuals. The filmmakers have stated that they deliberately use animal species to explore these themes without making direct references to specific racial or ethnic groups, which allows the film to resonate globally, where its message is spread to all age groups and cultural backgrounds. Transformation and growth. Both these films use transformation as a means of critiquing societal expectations and biases, reinforcing the idea that change is necessary for progress. First off, in Spirited Away, the main character Chihiro eventually evolves into a strong and independent person after initially exhibiting fear and reluctance towards this ordeal of losing her parents and being enveloped into this bathhouse and the fantastical elements attached to it. Her growth is shown through her ability to navigate her various inexplicable challenges, stand up to authority figures, and make selfless decisions. This transformation exhibited reflects how individuals must adapt and develop resilience in order to respond to societal pressures, which mirrors the broader critique of materialism and lost identity within a modernizing Japan. According to Susan Napier, the film's narrative structure follows a coming-of-age arc with Chihiro and uses magical elements to symbolize emotional and personal development as a response to societal changes, especially reflected in one's environment. Judy Hopps in Zootopia also undergoes a transformation, but her growth is centered more heavily on unlearning biases and recognizing systemic injustices that plague her divided society. She begins with an optimistic but somewhat naive belief that anyone can succeed if they work hard enough. But as the movie progresses, she learns that discrimination is deeply embedded into social structures and can significantly favor or restrict groups of animals from achieving their goals, even if they are just as or more hardworking than the average person. The moment of Judy Hopps' reflection, where she realizes she harbors her own biases, reinforces the film's broader critique of prejudice, and it emphasizes the true change that comes from within the protagonist. According to the source Variety, Zootopia balances humor with serious social themes, and the film allows audiences to be immersed and engaged in these complex ideas effortlessly. Cinematic techniques and symbolism/social commentary. Both of these films use a wide range of cinematic techniques to immerse and captivate their audiences into investing in these fantastical realms teeming with life, with real-world commentary and symbolism to further these messages. First, in Spirited Away, Miyazaki uses animation to show Chihiro's growth and change. The bathhouse, which is a vessel to represent consumerism and greed, is shown with very harsh and artificial lighting contrasted with the more natural areas having a more softer and tranquil essence. This shows the stark contrast between this polluted world Chihiro has stumbled upon and the cleansing spirit nature exhibits. Also throughout the film, water is an essential symbol, especially when Chihiro helps clean a polluted river spirit, which serves as a representation of the film's message about environmental damage and the possibility of renewal through change. These visual choices help highlight the film's themes of transformation and the importance of caring for nature. In Zootopia, the filmmakers use the city's different districts to show social separation, like how people in real life are divided by cultural and background. For instance, the small rabbit police officer Judy Hopps is constantly framed throughout the film in a way that shows her struggle to be taken seriously, while Nick Wilde's design as a fox challenges stereotypes about him, such as the idea that all foxes are sneaky and untrustworthy, whereas his outfit's formal and inviting nature contradicts this notion. Moreover, in the film, the lighting and colors also vary heavily based on the scene, where it's more bright and fun for action scenes and darker for more serious moments. These visual techniques help reinforce the film's messages about bias and prejudice in society. Conclusion. Both Spirited Away and Zootopia are very powerful, but unique all the same, and the illustrations they create to be a vessel for social commentary. In the end, these films accomplish similar goals, even with the clear cultural differences in the origins of the studios who created these projects, with Spirited Away focusing on themes of identity, consumerism, and environmentalism, with a Japanese cultural framework. Zootopia tackles prejudice and social structures through an American lens. Despite their cultural differences, both of these films use very rich and immersive storytelling, symbolism, and character development to critique modern societal issues. In this process, using the medium of animation, they can utilize various film techniques to create an artistic transformation of all the characters and keeping it all at the forefront of each story. That transformation is a crucial factor in addressing the challenges humanity faces. Both of these films excellently demonstrate that animated movies are not just for children, but their messages are towards people of all shapes and sizes and are wrapped in meaningful narratives that reflect real-world struggles and encourage audiences to think critically about the world around them.